this first and foremost. All parties. Whoops. It's backwards, huh?
Yeah.
Can I write it that way?
Point is,
I will say it. All parties are innocent until proven guilty, or presumed innocent until proven guilty. I will say that probably several times throughout this
we're
live.
not alleging guilt towards anybody.
No. So come on in, everybody.
Welcome.
Come on. Got Elvis in the house. Always Elvis.
Slightly better setup than yesterday, too.
More
Actually,
gooder.
quite a bit better.
One gooder.
Yeah. We weren't like holding the phone like a vlogger from 10 years ago.
We're gonna take our time here while people are coming in. We're just gonna sit down here and twiddle our thumbs and.
Yep. In general, through the entire process, we'll be taking our time through interviewing, through, going over everything. That's the point of this, to take our time and give a voice to all this, pretty much.
All right. Come on in and sit down. Squat down, lie down. Whatever you want to do. Just come on in.
7 people already.
There was more than that.
Hey everyone. I'm blind, I thought it said 0.
Our winners for the contest, you have those, right?
I have 2 of them.
Right.
It's, unless it's on that other, I tore it off in a piece of paper actually and set it up here earlier. That should be it, the piece of notebook paper. We'd only had 2 last time we checked, and I didn't get the last name of the first person.
Oh, yeah. I know who that is.
Oh, we're getting comments.
Hello.
Hey, Sean.
Come on in, everybody. I see y'all. Come on in. Welcome. Come on in. Let me say again. It's backwards. But all parties are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Well, I really can't read it that way. We're going to have to find a way to write it backwards so that it'll be visible.
Come on in. So good to see everybody. Thank you. We need all the help we can get. We have 2 winners from yesterday's live for the share. First place was Arnetta Minto. Arnetta, thank you, love. Arnetta is a private investigator who volunteers her time to help find missing people, and I just love her. So she was number 1. She was the first person to share the live, and so she will have her choice between gifts, and I will show those later on here. The second person to share the live is Priscilla Tuttle. Priscilla, I hope you're in here. If you're in here, let me know if you're in here. And you'll get the second prize. Whichever one Arnetta doesn't pick.
And as Sean said, please share. You know, it's an important thing to bring up later on, but now to bring it up too, you know, to share so that once we get later on through this and talk about the case, you know, just to spread it around, get more and more knowledge to more and more people.
Right.
We're in dire need of that.
Yes. So come on in. Please keep coming in. We're happy to see you. Join us. What time do we have?
It is 9:03.
All right. We'll give everybody a couple more minutes to share and get in here. Again, I must say,
We gotta hammer this home.
all parties are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Keyword here is presumed. So, presumed innocent. But I must say that prior to. And my company, my organization, nonprofit, JC Cares. Come on in. Arnetta, are you here? Leave a message if you're here.
We do see you, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Hope you're doing well.
Yes, Daniel, you are. Right there, buddy. Thank you. Okay, folks, tonight, y'all, we're going to go in depth and cover the James Valdez case. Jamie, as he's so eloquently known as, such a sweetheart. I had to post a video of him earlier that his sister posted because he just always had this smile that was amazing to me, and so I just love that video because he's smiling and laughing as usual. And so anyways, I keep thinking about that and kept thinking about that video up until we went on the air. Okay, so come on in, everybody. Woohoo! Please share the video, share it. The more eyeballs and the more brains that we have looking at this case and knowing the intricacies of this case, the better. So please come in, sit down, take a seat, and we will be interviewing Sean, his sister, here momentarily, and then we will be interviewing his brother Daniel momentarily as well. So we're very grateful to have them both here to talk about their brother and what's happened with him, and excuse me, I got a runny nose, y'all, and where the case stands today. So we're going to take our time and go over this. So if y'all got questions, you can put them in the as we're going. We'll put them down there. Put them down there in the comments. Yeah, that thing. And one of the two, Sean or Daniel, whoever's not on the live at the time, might be able to answer those questions for you as we go. If not, there's always, after the live, there's always questions that you can still put in there, and they will, go through them and answer them to the best that they can.
And I could try to write them down as we go through, just in case there's any,
Mm-hmm.
and then
We'll try to address some of them too while we're interviewing Sean and Daniel live, so that we may have a better answers to what's happening here. So, okay, so let's get started here. Glad that everybody is here. Please share. Again, our contest winners from last night's live, Arnetta Minto was first place, and Priscilla Tuttle was second place. So we'll talk more about that later, and I'll tell you what y'all got. Thank you, Amanda. Hi, Melinda. Thank you for coming in.
hello.
Boy, there's so many
We're really
people up
grateful.
there. Yes, we are. There's not even words to tell you how grateful we are. The more people, the better. So come on in, please. Okay. So let's talk about Jamie. Jamie has been missing since June 9th of last year. So we are quickly coming up on a year that Jamie's been missing. There's a lot of things that don't make sense in this case. A lot of things that leave everybody to wonder what is really going on here. There are questions all around. I have been following this case since almost the very beginning, and working with Sean on this case, and I have so many questions myself that I'm just like, what? So I'm sure a lot of you are going to have them. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Brenda. Thank you for coming in.
Hello.
So let's get down to what is going on here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Sean to come into the live, and we're going to interview her, talk to her. I'm going to ask her questions pertaining to Jamie and the players, if you will, in this act. And then I'm going to ask, everybody to kind of, keep their questions down there in the thing. And as I see questions rolling, she can answer some of those questions for you guys. Try not to get, if you're very familiar with this case, try not to get too far ahead of where we're at, because we know that you already know. There's some that already know a lot, and there's some that are just beginning. So let us start from the beginning so that people know what's happening. Okay?
I would add too that these interviews are going to be really important, because not only are Sean and Daniel both siblings of Jamie and were always very close, but Dave, of course, naturally being related to him, and being close to him, have kept up with the case and been some of the main people in trying to pursue the truth and some closure and understanding of what happened, and they've worked really hard for that too.
Exactly.
So if anybody, to give knowledge of what we know so far, it would be them.
Right. Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and bring Sean in. And hi, Deborah. Thank you for joining us. Please share, everybody. Share. And we're going to bring in where did you go, Sean? There you are. We're going to bring in Sean. It looks like we're adding her.
It's taking a second.
Most of you who know Sean know that she's from Texas, so she's got that cowboy, slow, southern internet. But there she is, beautiful, pretty as ever, and sweet as she ever was. So, welcome, Sean. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Sean, I know we're coming up on a year now that Jamie has been missing. I can't even imagine how frustrating and upsetting this must be for you. I just can't. Nobody, I've never been in this position. So, I mean, there's no way I can fathom what you're feeling. Can you kind of describe to us what you're feeling, what you've been thinking this whole year?
This has probably been the worst year of our life. I say our because, there's so many more people involved in this than just me. I got Nikki and Daniel and Kim and of course Jamie's daughter as well. So it's the not knowing, it's for me, it's something I think about from the time that I wake up until I finally fall asleep at night. It's ongoing, it never ends. But I mean, we enjoy talking to all the people, Jamie's friends and everybody who has contacted us and offered us tips and all of that. We definitely enjoy hearing the stories that everybody's telling about Jamie, and finding out just really what a great guy Jamie is or was. And the stories always make my heart happy, but then it also makes me really sad because the world has lost a really awesome person, and
Right.
we just want to get him found.
Sure. He needs to be brought home. Yeah, I can't, and I don't think that anybody else on here can imagine either what that must be like, what that feels like to not have any closure, to not know what's going on or what happened. So let's go. I would like to ask again. Let me state one more time: all parties are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty. And those parties who are involved, we'll make sure you get found guilty. So anyways, we're going to start at the beginning here and talk about some things. I want to tell people, first and foremost, because this is live on Facebook, we want to be very careful. If you know Jamie and his family, please do not state his daughter's name on the air or in the comments. Just refer to her as his daughter. She's young, and we would like to keep her identity where it needs to be. Also, other players, be careful with stating their names. You can refer to who they are, but don't put their name online. Y'all will know who we're talking about or what we're referring to. We'll make sure of that, okay?
As long as he's important.
Right. So let me ask you, the first time that anything was said about Jamie being gone, when was that, Sean?
I looked back on my Facebook messages, and it was June the 10th when his wife contacted me, and she just asked me if I had heard from him, and I let her know I hadn't. I wasn't immediately, like that day, I wasn't concerned so much, but even like 2 or 3 days afterwards, I was uneasy. but I was, but she had told me that she thought that he was out partying and whatever. So, I just kind of went with that for the first day or two. But then after that, I was like, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And so it was just an unsettling feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Right. So there's been some confusion about the date that he actually went missing. I've heard the 10th, I've heard the 9th, and I've seen contradicting posts that were put out by his wife, that said it was the 9th and then said it was the 10th, and I'm confused. Do you know which one it actually is?
It's definitely the 9th. Looking back at some of his wife's posts, that was the day that she posted that he'd left. And after talking to the chief of police and verifying what days he actually worked, he had worked the 8th and the 9th. And then after coming home on the 9th, no, I'm sorry, the 7th and the 8th. And when they both had that day off, the 9th, and so
That's when everything broke loose.
That everything went down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's my understanding, looking over the case file that I've compiled, that his wife stated that they had had a fight on the 9th or 10th, whichever message you're reading from her at the time, one of those two, that they had a fight, and that he was angry at her. What was he angry at her for?
She had gotten called into work, and their plan was for them to spend the day together. And so he didn't understand why she would go in when that was their plan. And there's more to it that I can't really divulge, that I found out since then, just because of the ongoing case. But it was, he had a reason to be angry, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. So, it's your understanding that he had some valid concerns regarding his relationship with his wife. That's your understanding. You don't know,
Yes.
You don't have to tell us what those concerns are, but he had some concerns. That's your understanding. Okay. So the last place that his wife said that she saw him was where?
At her job. I believe that's the J-Mart one, going out of town in Boonville. He had dropped by there and had asked her if he could go back home, and which she replied with, this is my job, I can't do this here, do what you want to do. And at that point he left, and she said he went back by their house, and where they lived with her mother. They were taking care of her because she had fallen and broken her back. And so when he went back by the house, he got some more clothes and picked up $600, and from there left. And she said she did not ever see him again after that.
Now I'm a little confused. Maybe you can clarify this for me and for everybody else and for Tyler, because Tyler's got questions about it too. Yeah, why would he ask for permission to go home? I mean, I've read lots of uh, comments online stating, from his wife herself, stating that she did not throw him out. So why was he asking her if he could go back home if he wasn't thrown out? You don't know? Me
I
either.
honestly
That's
don't
kind of
know.
confusing, really,
wish I knew.
Yeah, so
It is.
she said that the last time she saw him was at her work. Is that correct? Yeah, at her work. And
That is
and then
correct. June 9th.
June 9th, okay. And supposedly he went. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. I think we got it fixed. I hit the cord by accident. Okay. So, anyways, so she said that he went to her work, and and this is what she told you, that he went to her work and then he went back by the house.
Yes. That's what
I
she
thought
said.
that I thought in previous conversations that I had, and maybe I'm incorrect, but I thought that nobody had seen him after he left Jamart.
There was a family in Ozark who said that they had seen him. It was a young lady.
No, but I mean, as far as like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, as far as like going back to the house where they lived together, I thought that after he left Janmark, that was it. Nobody had seen him. Now he's gone back to the house.
According to what Anna said to me, her mother and brother verified that he had gone back there. I mean, I can only say what she's told me, so I wasn't there, so I don't really know. But that was my understanding as to what she was relaying to me.
Okay. So when he went back to the house, there were two other parties there.
Yes.
That would be the mother-in-law and the brother-in-law.
Yes.
Yeah. And have they said anything about Jamie returning to the house and what may have taken place? No?
They have not told me. I do know that the police chief went by to ask or to get some paperwork filled out from his wife. And while he was there, he spoke with her mother. And I don't know that the brother was there at the time, but his wife's boyfriend was there as well.
Oh, okay. So now we have three players there at the house. We have boyfriend, we have brother-in-law, and mother-in-law.
Yes.
Correct?
That's correct.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite an interlude, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Sean, when did you find out that Jamie was missing?
When did I find out?
Yes.
Well, I mean, when she contacted me on the 10th, that was my first contact with her ever. And that would, I mean, from that point on, he was pretty much considered missing. I mean, he wasn't at home. Nobody knew where he was. You know, and like I said, I did find out later that a family from Ozark had seen him, but that was just a couple of days after the 10th. And they had said that he was going back to Boonville from there. And so it's just, we don't know where he is. We have our suspicions that he is no longer here. And the reason that we believe that is because he hasn't contacted us. And Jamie has always been notorious about staying in touch with his siblings.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, I can look back on my text and my Facebook messages, and I have something from him every 2 weeks at least. A lot of times more than that,
Sure.
but at least every 2 weeks. And for it to now be going on a year and no word from him, we know. I mean, we know. There's no doubt in our minds that he is no longer with us.
Right. Well, we have a lot to cover in between that and the beginning. So I think it's important to get as much of the facts as we can out there, so that people know really what we're dealing with here, and then plus they can understand why there's so much, upset happening, because there's been a lot of, dropping the ball going on here. Let me just say real quick, hi Patience, hi Bethany, hi Adrienne, thank you for coming in.
And we greatly appreciate the prayers too. That's
big
really
time.
grateful.
So as we go on to the next issue, let's say again, all parties are presumed innocent until proven guilty. All right, so, but then after she told you that on the 10th, when was it that she notified you again that something was not right?
She and I were pretty much in contact every day from then on out for a while. So, she did tell me that next day she drove to CV's to see if Jamie was at work, and he was not there. And she had also told me that she had driven to Ozark to look for him and couldn't find him. So, I mean, pretty much every day there was some contact, most every day, between myself and her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, I mean, did she take folks with her to go looking for him? I mean, did she take her brother and her boyfriend to go look for him, or no? Okay.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Okay. So, on the 19th of June, we see that his car was found. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. I got a message from her telling me that they'd found the car, and that her boss's significant other, fiance is what she called him, had found it, that it was at the Bluff Hole in Sugar Grove, and he drove her up there. And when she got up there, I asked her to take some pictures because I just had a feeling. And so she took 2 pictures. She sent them to me. One was of the writing on the back window. The other one was through the window of the car, the driver's side. and it was showing that the driver's side seat had been pushed way up and the seat was torn. His wife did say that the seat was not like that before. And she, of course, noticed right away that the seat was way closer to the steering wheel than was possible for Jamie to have been the last one to drive in it, if that was the case. So we were actually driving at the time she sent me those pictures, and Preston and we had changed seats, and I was driving, so I wasn't able to respond to her right away. But I was thinking about the picture that she'd sent and the writing on the back window, and I just got the worst feeling, and I could hardly wait for us to change back so that I could be like, you need to contact the authorities. This, and she was asking me, do you think I should? And I said, yes, you definitely need to
Do you think
let
I
the police
should?
know, because something is not right.
Let me say something real quick here. For those of you who don't know, when they found Jamie's vehicle on the back window, this is out in the country, where there's a lot of dirt roads, there's a lot of kick up of dust and dirt on, the back windows. And on the back window, someone had taken their finger in the dust and put, he is near, help me. Now, number one, I've never believed that myself from the get-go. It's just a convenient thing that I think happened. Later on, police said that 4 young men came forward and said that they were the ones who put this information on the windows as a joke. I don't know if I believe that either. It's kind of convenient for me, but still, nonetheless, Jamie didn't put it on there. We know that. So that message on the window does not apply to Jamie at all whatsoever. So his vehicle, we know his vehicle was out Dry Creek Road in Sugar Grove, down by the Bluff Hole. I have looked at all the pictures of the vehicle, and I think one of the things that I had said to you initially when I first started working on this case was, boy, it sure looks like Jamie was drug out of that vehicle. That's exactly how the front seat looked, like he was holding on to the front seat, and it looked like somebody had pulled him out of his vehicle, and it had to be more than one person, because Jamie was not a little guy. So that was just my feeling, my take on it. Unfortunately, we'll never know that aspect of it, because what happened to Jamie's car?
Well, it got towed. I mean, they came in, when the police went out there to search, they originally towed it back to their lot or wherever they take it. And but then the very next day, it was delivered back to his wife, and within a month, less than a month, it was repossessed and, as far as we know, taken to Florida, where the lien holder of the car was. So we do know that they took pictures of the inside of the car and the outside of the car. They did not fingerprint it. They did not see any blood evidence, but they didn't check to make sure that, luminol or anything like that, to see if there was in fact anything like that in there. wasn't checked for.
Well, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the police did not process this vehicle at all. No fingerprints, no blood, no nothing. They didn't do any of that.
No,
Why?
none of that. Because when he was reported missing, they were told that he was probably out partying and that he had probably left his wife for another woman. And so they figured, you know, hey, this is an adult. And, you know, with being told that, they had no reason to believe there was any foul play or anything like that involved. It wasn't until probably maybe a week later when I called up there to the police station, and I talked to the chief, and I was like, look, I know what you guys were told, but even if he had been with another woman, he would have reached out to us. And Nikki, who lives in the area, she would have, I mean, anytime Jamie needed a ride somewhere, if he was without wheels, that's who he would call. And he was obviously without wheels because his car was towed off. And, you know, if he needed money or food or anything like that, I'm the one he'd call. So,
well, I just find it like kind of outrageous from my point of view that you would find a vehicle abandoned when this man is nowhere to be found, and the vehicle has this writing on the back of it, which we didn't know till way later that supposedly somebody else did it, but still, that wouldn't set off alarms in the eyes of law enforcement, where they would be like, hey, maybe we should hang on to this vehicle until we locate this man, or, you know, we should at least process the vehicle until we locate this man. They did none of that, correct?
right.
Okay.
Right.
So we're going to give you a break for a second, Sean, and
Okay.
and you can go ahead and send me another ad after I take you out. And I'm going to bring Daniel in for a little bit and talk to him, and then we'll bring you back, okay? Momentarily.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right, so we'll be back, sweetie.
All right, let's find Daniel and bring him in. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, how you doing?
I am okay. How about you? That's the question.
I'm surviving.
I understand. I know you've been watching what your sister had to say so far in this interview. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
It's kind of overwhelming. You know, me and my brother was real close. It's hard to be around here, not knowing, feeling like you're so close, but yet so far away, you know. Trying to put up the facade of everything's okay when in reality it's not, you know.
Right, right. And I know that you were very, very close to Jamie. So let me ask you this. Would your brother just take off to go party or be with another woman without telling you, your sisters? That's just not something Jamie would do, correct?
No, it's not. I was out of pocket at the time all this happened, but I know my brother. He raised his daughter by himself, and she was his world. there's no way in a million years, not for all the money in the world or all anything, that when my brother would not have called his daughter on Christmas, would not have called her on her birthday. There's no way he wouldn't reach out to Sean or Nikki. It just didn't happen. He's not around.
And I'll tell you, I have spoke to, I can't even tell you how many people that knew your brother, hundreds. And everybody says the same exact thing, no matter where Jamie was at in his life, that he would never not talk to his daughter or not talk to his family. That just is not Jamie. He would never do that. And so I'm kind of like, I get what you're saying, because I can't find anybody except for his wife who will say that he would do that. That's the only person that I've heard thus far that would say that he would do that. And I don't buy it. I haven't from the beginning. And so tell us what. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I've had people reach out to me and tell me that she had tried to pretend like he was an abuser and this and that. And I know better. There was one time that he had gotten a new girlfriend because his baby mama had left, and his baby mama ended up getting in a bad spot and didn't have nowhere to go. And for his daughter, he put her up in a spare room in his house and caused all kinds of problems with the old lady he had now. And he just told her, he said, "Look, that's my baby's mama. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, for her sake, I'm not going to let her suffer." And I had seen her fly off the bat and go to waylanding. And the most I ever seen my brother do is hold her down on the ground until she calmed down and tell her to stop hitting me. I don't believe for a second my brother ever abused that woman.
Okay, so you've seen her abuse him, though.
Not that one. An ex.
Another one. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that to make sure you're not talking about the current wife. Okay. So
I have had my brother. I have had my brother contact me on Facebook or Messenger, FaceTime, and he was crying. And I was like, "What's wrong, Jamie?" And he said, "Man, I got home from work." He said, and this is talking about his wife. He said, "She was in the bathroom and wouldn't come out. She was in there all night, Daniel. She was high. She had met some old guy that she used to hang around with and got high with him." And he was upset about it. You know what I mean? He was crying. And the girl I was with at the time was telling me I'd leave her. You know what I mean? He's like, "No, I can't do that."
Right. Because we're of the understanding, and Sean would know this best, but you also know too. Jamie had been sober for a little better than a year.
I had seen some pictures of him. I know that I know that his wife has tried to say that he was out doing drugs or this or that. I know my brother better than anybody. I used to be in that lifestyle, and I know Jamie's telltale signs when he is using. And one of them, he scrunches his lips together and they stay like that. The other, after a couple of days, his chinks sucking, and in none of those pictures did I see any of those signs. And like when you do that stuff, it sucks your soul from you, and you look gone, you look dead, in the eyes. And he had laugh in his eyes. His cheeks were full. He didn't have that telltale sign that he has on his face when he's using. I don't care. Every time he used, he had instantly that face drawled up. And in none of those pictures that I seen of him did he ever appear to me that he was using. I don't believe it. Right. He wouldn't have had a job.
I don't either as well. And he was, when he called you, he was upset because according to him, he was sober and she was using.
Yes.
That's the phone conversation that you all had. That's what he told you when you talked to him.
Yes. We
Okay.
talked every day through Messenger or Facebook or whatever, and video chatted all the time. And yeah, he was upset. You know what I mean? He had just, you know, he had went to Harbor House and then went to the little halfway house thing beside it, and he was enjoying being clean, and he was enjoying having cars and working and having, you know, this woman, and you know, it hurt him.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You know, so far we've gotten to where Jamie's car was abandoned. Do you, initially when this first started, the notion that was put out there was that he just walked away into the woods out there and got lost and had a diabetic attack and died somewhere in the forest? Do you believe that?
No, I've seen Jamie. Jamie took diabetic pills. He didn't have to do the insulin shots. And I've seen
Right.
him, even when he was messing up, I've seen him, you know, of course, when you're doing that stuff, you don't eat much. And I've seen him not eat much and not take any of his medication and be just fine. So I don't believe that played any kind of part in it. Now,
No.
at first, I
No.
thought, well, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible he went off in the woods and done something to himself over being hurt over something that happened between his wife or something. But I don't believe that no more. I tried to
No.
keep an open mind. I had even told my sister one time over the phone, look, you know, we've got to think about what Jamie would want. And, you know, and I encouraged her that Jamie would want us to help her out as much as we could. And my sister had tried. But now it's different, you know.
Right. Right. So, you know, as far as taking his own life, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I would never believe it. Not as much as he loves his daughter. He would never do that. There's no, you can't convince me otherwise. Not for that woman or any other woman would he do that. So I don't believe that. And I don't believe that he walked off into the forest where y'all grew up
No.
and died of a diabetic attack. I am diabetic. I take the same pills Jamie took. I can go 2 weeks without taking them. I may not feel great, but I'm not going to die, keel over in the middle of somewhere. So I've never really bought into that as well either. So what do
Yeah.
you think of? Go ahead.
I talked to Jamie last, probably like November 28th, 29th. I went to.
Before I went missing.
Well, yeah, it was November 29th of 20.
Yeah.
I went, he told me he was in town, so I went over to Anna's mother's house and talked to him for a little bit there. And, you know, we had talked about my mom's grade and stuff, and he told me I was doing a good job of the upkeep and stuff. And, you know, at that point, he seemed happy. He introduced me to Anna in person. I'd seen her on, you know, when I was talking to him on FaceTime and stuff, but, you know, she come up and said hi, and then she was gone. You know, I don't know, you know, but it was around November 29th,
Right.
20 is when somebody got to talk to him.
Sure.
I'd
And now
seen him a few. Go ahead.
you've seen the pictures of Jamie's vehicle.
Yeah.
What did you make of that when you saw him? What did you think?
Honestly, now what I think is somebody's trying to play like they're a lot smarter than they really are. I believe that they put his vehicle at the bluff hole with relations of knowing that our mother had owned some property right diagonal from there at one time. And I think they try to make it look like he flaked out and abandoned his vehicle and and that's what I believe.
Okay. I do too. I do think that his vehicle was planted there. Um, I certainly know that he did not put it there. What do you think about the fact that the police did not process the vehicle?
Well, I had heard at first they had made a comment, well, we thought it was Daniel Valdez, or we'd already been looking for him. I think that the Boonville police force is either the laziest people I've ever met in my life, or they just don't care, you know. And I hate to say that because, I hate to make enemies like that, but the truth is the truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I've had some conversations where it's been pretty much like, that they don't have the experience, of handling a case of this nature. And my point of view, my position, my opinion is that not processing the vehicle was a huge blunder, huge, because look where we're at now. So, anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break here. We're going to switch back over to Sean and continue on with the story. And you can send me another invite because I'll bring you back again in a little while, okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me find her. There she is. All right. And there she is. Hello, doll. You're back. Can you hear me? Sean?
Yes. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Took a second for it to get going there. While we're in the middle, before we start back up, and Tyler's had to take a break to the restroom real quick, I want to talk about who won the live yesterday. First place was Arnetta Minto. So Arnetta, you have your choice between some Robin McGraw Revelation skincare products, or you have a choice between some lovely lip scrub for your lips, and this is glow illuminating lotion for your face, and then this is some context lipstick, still sealed, everything's still sealed. So this is one prize, and this is the other prize. So be thinking about it, Arnetta, and let me know which one you want. And whichever one you choose, the other one will go to the second runner-up, which was Priscilla Tuttle. Priscilla, are you in here tonight? Hopefully. If not, and you catch this later, Priscilla, you can send me a message, and we'll get that over to you, get your address and get that over to you, and so on. Okay, Tyler's back. So let's move on to, so the police report was filed on the 20th, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
On June 20th, yeah. And so who made the police report?
Do you mean the officer?
'Cause- No.
That
Who
was
made the police report? The wife?
Jamie's wife did, yes.
Okay. Jamie's wife made the police report. But it took some goading to get her to make it, right?
After, well, they had found the car on the 19th. And, I don't know why it wasn't done that same day, but she did go the next day and make that police report. And it was actually considered a missing persons report at that time. I hadn't actually seen the missing persons report until very recently. And, I don't know why that wasn't shared. But anyway, there's the day she went up there and made the report, nothing was done on that day. And then she ended up reaching back out to them. And that's when they told her that they thought it was Daniel. And I guess if it had been Daniel, they wouldn't have searched for him, which isn't right and totally ticked me off. And so, I mean, people make mistakes, and I don't think that people should be judged by their mistakes just because of their name.
Okay,
I mean, if it had been Daniel,
so let me think. Right. So let me say this real quick. Again, all parties are presumed innocent until they are found guilty or proven guilty. But so we find the car, but the wife still called you and said, "Should I?" Is that correct?
well, she didn't call me.
Should I file a police report?
Yeah, she never called me. It was always through Facebook Messenger. She didn't want to talk on the phone. And
Wow.
yeah. But, I mean, it's all fine.
Okay. So let's see. So she relayed to you, the wife relayed to you, that if it had been Daniel, that they thought it was Daniel.
Yes.
And so let me just interject real quick. Priscilla, I see you. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. We'll talk after the live. Everybody, please share to everybody. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes here to make sure. So one of the sheriff's deputies said that they drove by the car and said that they didn't see anything of any concern.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't understand that at all.
Oh.
I mean, how can you go by there and see the writing on the back window? And if he had looked in there, of course, the man wasn't familiar with how the inside of the car looked, but so maybe he thought the torn seat was normal. Obviously it wasn't, but yeah, how he
And the
could say
writing
that
on the
everything
back
was-
window?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how they could think or say that everything looked fine.
Yeah, that's kind of comical, actually. It's like, wow, really? I mean, anybody can look at the vehicle and note that something wasn't right.
Right.
So, okay, let me say something real quick here that I think is very important. I want to say that, it doesn't matter what anybody's lifestyle is. Jamie is a human being. just like everybody else. He's a son, he's a father, he's a brother, he's an uncle, he's all of these things. And it does not matter what his past was, whatever has happened to him, he doesn't deserve. And from the get-go, the Boonville Police Department has a responsibility to protect and serve everyone, not just who they choose. And I realize that, you know, there are some people who would disagree in small town America, and the attitude is kind of like, oh, one more drug addict gone. Well, that's not reality, and that's not how it works. And Jamie was sober, so I don't know what they're thinking, but it doesn't matter if he was a raging addict at the time. They have a responsibility as a public servant to protect and serve their constituents, and you know, and that includes Jamie, and that includes Daniel. So I can't even wrap my mind around that, and you know, I'll say later on what I really think about it all, but right now we'll just go with where we're at. So she asked you, the wife asked you, should she contact the authorities? And you told her, yeah, like basically, what are you waiting for?
Right. Exactly.
Right? Okay. Okay. So, on the 21st, you said that the police department relayed to you that they took a search team and did a search of the area around where the vehicle was, looking for Jamie.
Right. And
Right.
as far as I know, they took in the cadaver dogs that day. Well, I was told that they had taken the cadaver dogs in, and they searched a 1 mile radius, and they also searched any water areas with the dive team as well during that time. I think that they were starting to realize that something was up, and they
Yeah, this is
but a 1 mile radius really isn't very
11.
far.
Yeah, this is almost 2 weeks later. I mean, what was their first clue?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, okay, so go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to put in that I'm trying to write down as many questions that I see in the chat as possible, and if they're not answered by either Sean or Daniel, then I'll make sure to try to ask them after we're done with the interview. And I'm sure they'd be happy to answer.
Okay, so I want to touch a little bit real quick on an issue that I have seen come up a lot in a lot of different chats, and one of the issues is that the chief of the Boonville Police Department once had a relationship such as, you know, like his family took in Jamie's wife at some point when she was young.
Yes.
They were just kids.
Right.
And so there was a
She
lot
had
of
told me
concern.
She was 18 at the time, and she was very good friends with the chief's sister. And I did ask him about it. He did verify that it was correct, and that he was 9 years old at the time, and he didn't really remember Anna.
But I
So,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, he may not remember the intricacies, but I mean, he knows who she was. I mean, But,
Yeah, she
when
lived
she
there almost
when
a
she
year.
goes to make a report, he knows who she is. Right.
Right.
And it seemed as though your thought process was that he kind of believed her initially,
Hmm.
that Jamie was out partying. And
Yeah.
did you express to him that you had issues like a conflict of interest kind of thing?
Um, I don't know that that ever came up exactly to him. But when I brought it up, it was before a search that we did with them. And I asked him about that specifically because to me that was a concern. I didn't feel like Jamie might be getting the best attention, and and I really feel like that was probably part of the reason. Um, so yeah, when I brought it up to him, it was actually in front of a group of people. So the
Mm-hmm.
people from the search team and other officers were there as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, I'm just looking at notes here because I want to make sure we stay on track here. Okay, so did he tell you why he let her have the vehicle back so soon?
Um, I don't remember him specifically saying. Just at that point in time, I don't think that they really thought that. Um, well, I think that they were kind of going along with what she had told them, that he was out partying with another woman and didn't think that he was necessarily missing. But it's strange because at the same time they did that search of the woods. So, that leads me to believe that they must have thought something was up, or why would they do a search like that? So it really
Exactly.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. And so, you know, they give her the car back. They don't process it. Um, when was the first time that you had contact with the chief of Boonville Police Department? Do you remember?
It would have been about a week after that search.
Yeah, it looks here like it was June 30th.
Yeah.
And they told you in that conversation that they had found some of Jamie's property out around the area where Jamie's vehicle was found, right?
Right. They found
Um,
his health card and like some pocket change and just some other loose papers. And that was all found, he said, about 100 feet from where the car was parked. But I've been out there and it's probably more like 50 yards, I would say, because Jamie's car was parked at the entrance of the bluff hole, and you walk down to the bluff hole, and then you walk up like a dry creek area, and that was the area where the paperwork and everything was found. And it's quite a ways. And actually,
mhm.
when we walked up there, the Dry Creek area has a lot of big rocks, and you could easily hurt yourself if you're the one going up the creek and you're not paying really close attention. It would be easy to twist an ankle
Right.
or fall on those jagged rocks. And so for all that stuff to be up there, somebody put it there. And I doubt Jamie did. that should have been stuff that more than likely, most of it would have been in his wallet. And,
Right.
but you know, there's other stuff that somehow or another he left at home, like his state ID and his
ATM card.
debit cards that they put, that's how they deposited his paycheck. That was left at the house. What guy is going to go out without those things? You know, I mean, who goes out
Right.
without their state
And
ID?
his cell phone as well, right?
He had an old cell phone that was at the house, still, but he had an iPhone 11 in an otter case that he had taken with him, and that was actually when the last phone ping was done, not by the police, but by a guy who had come and done an interview of Jamie's wife. He had said in the interview, you know, we can, if you'll let me have the phone, I can find that information and see where the last location was. Well, he was given the phone, and it was in an area that was reported to be underwater at the time of the phone ping. Now that I know because the chief had said they had gotten the flood reports for that area specifically. And so, you know, Jamie's otter case phone being in the otter case, it's very likely that it could have floated down the river and, you know, finally died in that area. Yeah, we just don't know. So, you know, that's one thing we hope, you know, that, I mean, the police were supposed to get the phone records, and we were hoping to get that clarified. And, you know, just no, we would like to know who were the last people he was talking to and texting and all of that, but no phone records yet as
Right.
to date, as far as we know.
And I will say, in all fairness, to be fair, there are things that detectives won't release to the public or the family for reasons, you know, that have to do with the case, that only a person who could have committed the act would know about. So they don't want, you know, the rest of the public to know those certain things, and that's understandable. So we can't fault them for that. But, you know, an abandoned vehicle should have been processed, and it was not. And, you know, I take issue with that, and I'm sure everybody else listening takes issue with it as well. Another issue I had back when I first started looking at the case was that the vehicle that Jamie was driving was not his vehicle. It was Anna's vehicle, technically, right? The wife's vehicle. So when they got the vehicle, the wife kept stating that it was not equipped with OnStar.
Right.
And so I right away said, it's a 2010, it has OnStar. And, you know, the wife came in to the chat and kept saying, you know, no, it didn't. And so I reached out to the car company itself, their corporate office. And I actually have a written message from them where they state that even if the OnStar isn't on, because you haven't paid it or whatever, that all of their vehicles are equipped with OnStar at manufacturer from 2010 on. So then all of a sudden, the wife changes the gear of the vehicle in chat and starts saying that the vehicle was a 2007. Now, I tried not to laugh, but, you know, quite honestly, that was the most, because it just so happens that that is the cutoff year for OnStar manufacturer. So if it was a 2007, it wouldn't have OnStar, but anything later than that would be equipped with OnStar, and they could access the records of that vehicle. And, you know, I had a few of her supporters, you know, arguing with me to death about it. That's why I went straight to corporate and was like, can you tell me, you know, would there be a reason why this vehicle would not have OnStar? And I was told specifically that all of those vehicles for that date, that year, are equipped at manufacturer. It's not a customer, you know, request or anything like that. All of their vehicles have it. Even if you don't utilize it, it has it. And that's one of the ways that they track down vehicles that people stop paying payments on. And so it is what they call included in their safety package at manufacturer is OnStar. So I wonder why that wasn't pursued more. And I wonder why, if there wasn't one, where'd it go? I wonder, you know, if that was what was happening to the vehicle while, you know, it was wherever it was for however many days. It was being, you know, that was being taken care of. So anyways, all right, so let's move on. So we know that that just bites, right? That's just a mess. Arnett, I saw what you wrote on there. The message on the back.
A mechanic, and he works on vehicles, and he did say that the area of the engine that was tampered with would have to do with the GPS location services, and you know he really feels like
Thank you,
that's
Daniel.
probably why it was tampered with.
Sure. And didn't somebody find a rear view mirror out there somewhere?
I can't remember. Chances are,
Yeah,
yes.
I thought somebody had found one. Yeah. So okay. So Officer Stokes said that he asked the wife for her phone number, and that she had given him too many numbers.
Yes.
That's interesting. So there was some mention about a gentleman who used to live out there in Sugar Grove that has moved recently, and some thoughts that, you know, he has Jamie's keys and Jamie's clothes. Have they recovered either one of those?
People told us that he had Jamie's keys, and another man thought he saw that guy with Jamie and walking from Jamie's car to his house. And, you know, he only lives a short walk from the Bluff Hole. So, but later, when that same guy was shown a photo of Jamie, he said that that wasn't the guy who was walking with the one who was with Jamie. And, you know, which makes me think, well, who was it? Who had my brother's clothes? I mean, somebody
Mhm.
did,
Mhm.
because the clothes were, some
Right.
of them were missing. Not all of them, but some of them.
Right.
And shoes
Now,
and
there
pair
was
of
a
boots.
right. Now there was a time that the wife told you that um, she did not have keys to the vehicle.
Right.
Do you know how the vehicle got from impound to her home?
They towed it and actually used one of their tools to open the door for her so that she could get in the vehicle. But, you know, I guess towing companies have that capability.
Sure. hmm Now, did she drive the vehicle any at all after?
Not that I know of.
It was my understanding that she had posted some pictures or a picture of herself in the vehicle in the McDonald's parking lot after Jamie had already been missing.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did. She did post a
Um,
picture. I didn't know if that was the same vehicle or not, but there were some people who said that the interior of that vehicle did look like a 2010 Chevy Equinox interior. So I don't know.
yeah, when somebody else brought that up and was commenting about it, I did uh, take the pictures and the pictures of Jamie's vehicle and research them. And the vehicle, to me, in my opinion, looked like a Chevy Equinox.
Yeah.
The dash was the same, and that was something else that was a telltale sign of the year of the vehicle. She kept saying that it was 2007 when all along she had said it was 2010. And they have two completely different dashes, two completely different gauges, in your dashes. They look nothing alike from
Right.
2007 to 2010. So I found that very incredible that she would say that. So let me switch over to Daniel again for a few minutes, and then we'll come back to
I
you,
will
okay?
say, though,
Give you a little bit of
I
a
will
break.
say that she did tell me at the very beginning, because I asked what kind of vehicle he had, that it was a 2010 Chevy Equinox. And, I mean, that was way at the beginning of everything when
Right,
we were on the lookout
right,
for him. So, yeah, I
right,
mean, she told me that. I mean, I've got it in black and white.
right, exactly. So, okay, so let's switch over to Daniel. I've got a few questions for him, and then we'll come back to you in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where are you, Daniel? Where'd he go? There he is.
Very top.
Yep.
And we still appreciate everybody commenting, asking questions, sharing.
Yes, please,
liking.
share the live, please, everybody, share the live. See, This
Can you
is
see
a
me?
really crazy case. We need all the help we can get for everybody to share the live, get this out there, and get this handled, get Jamie home to his family. So, hi Daniel, glad you're back.
Thank you.
And so, Daniel, I'm glad you chimed in about the OnStar, because that was something for me that was very relevant and stays relevant in this case, was that the OnStar was missing in the vehicle. And I made sure to do my homework to make sure that I was correct in stating that that year vehicle was equipped at manufacturer with OnStar, period. That nobody gets to choose, yeah, I want OnStar or I don't. You get to choose whether you want the service or not, but the vehicle at manufacturer is equipped with OnStar always, from 2009, I believe, or 2008. I'd have to look through my notes forward. So conveniently, the wife changed her story mid waters here, and started saying the vehicle was 2007. But you know better.
I don't know what year it was. I know that Sean had showed me some pictures of up underneath the hood, some parts that had been messed with. And the first thing I noticed right off the bat was the electrical control module was the one hanging loose. And if you know anything about cars or getting parts off cars or stuff, okay, so up underneath the hood where the ECM is pretty secure as far as weather, rain, anything goes, okay? Because it is electrical control module, and it does have a lot to do, well, it's got everything to do with all the computer system of the car. But the one that was in there looked pitted, like it had been in a vehicle that maybe the hood had been off of for a while or something. It looked weathered. And that's why I was, like, off the bat, I felt like maybe somebody had swapped out the ECM, so they, and I don't know how the OnStar's tracking thing is, but I do know that that's all tied into the whole computer system of the car. And I wish we had the car now so we could take the vehicle to a Chevy dealer and have him hook it up to an OBD2 sensor, the Chevy dealership manufacturer's one, and they could pull the VIN number right off of it, because it stores the VIN number to the car. And that's another way they do that. So if people do steal cars and change out all the VIN numbers, well, when it's plugged up, it's still going to show the VIN number of the previous car that ECM belongs to. And I just felt like, man, it's weird that it was the ECM that was hanging loose. Like, maybe because all it is 3 plugs that it's got a little clip. You just clip it up, pull them out, put the other one in, clip them down. It's real easy to change out. 2 bolts.
Right. And this has been a point of contention for me from the beginning, because I made it my job to find that out, if that vehicle had OnStar on it, and it did. And I know that when your sister spoke with the police department about it, she was told that it didn't have OnStar. All right, where'd it go? Where is it?
I don't know. I mean, if that vehicle was equipped with OnStar, it had it. Even if it wasn't connected, you don't have to have your OnStar on, and say somebody steals your vehicle and they're in a high-speed pursuit. Well, the police can have your vehicle shut down,
Right.
where it won't run.
Right.
Without it even being activated. They've got 2 parts to it. They've got the dealership part, that can access it all at all times. And then they got the customer part, which pays to get OnStar, but it can be activated at any given time. And I'm sure that if the police would have did their legwork, that they could have had Chevy track the OnStar to see exactly where all that vehicle had been. But I mean, now the vehicle's gone,
Right,
Uh,
right. And the time for processing it
Months
is
passed.
yeah, long gone.
well,
Major
you know,
blunder.
like I was telling my sister, no matter if there was blood evidence or anything in there that was covered up, washed, cleaned, no matter what, if they was to really process that vehicle, pull the carpet up, stuff like that, you can clean blood off the top of the carpet. But if they didn't, if they didn't get it out of the bottom of the carpet, there could be still some evidence there if,
Right.
if it was blood evidence.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Did your brother have a gun?
You know, supposedly Anna had said that she had bought him one and that he had told her he took it to one of my sisters to hold on to. That sister says that never happened. I never seen him with a gun. I don't know. For some reason, when I first heard about it, I felt like asking Sean if he had a gun, to ask Anna if he had a gun, and then she said, yeah, he did have a gun, but he had took it to my sister's house, my other sister's house, to hold for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. And from our understanding, it was a 40 caliber Glock, all black.
I guess that's what I had heard.
Yeah. And so nobody knows where this gun is now, right?
Yeah, that's conveniently gone.
Yeah, it's conveniently gone with Jamie, right? So, and
I guess Anna
your sister Nikki said he's never brought
No.
that gun to her. So that's a
No.
lie,
And I guess Anna had told the police that the only thing that she really seen that was missing was his gun. And I just heard this from, I think my sister told me that. I'm not sure where I heard it, but
Right. Okay. So if Jamie had a gun, he certainly wouldn't take it to your sister and drop it off, would he? I mean, what reason would he have for that?
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I think it's funny how if she didn't, see him pack his stuff, or she didn't, why would she think that he would have had the gun with him right up? What'd she do? Just go look for it to see if it was there? That don't make no sense to me.
Oh, wait a second. So we have Levon. Levon says that she posted a picture of it on Facebook and said she was going to shoot it. Levon, when was that? While we wait for Levon to respond, yeah, I'd like to know if you remember when that was, Levon, or if you can find out for us. That would be great.
I know that she's got a big old yard sale going right now. Whether it's any of my brother's stuff, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know that.
Yeah.
Yesterday or whatever, there's a big yard sale
Oh,
going on.
Tammy Dyer saw it as well. Tammy, hi, Tammy. Do you remember when? Okay, so let's go on while the ladies are talking about that. Sean's engaging them in that conversation. You know that there is.
I was going to have what Levon said that he sent Sean a message with pictures.
Okay, perfect. Send them to me too, Levon, please. So let's talk about this for a second. There was a gentleman who lived in Sugar Grove, who has recently moved. And he had, I think, some kind of issue. I think a former girlfriend, Thorina Watson, went missing. And so, we've been actively trying to include her in things that we do. I wonder to myself, and I wonder your thought process on this. It always seemed to me like his vehicle was conveniently left out there near this man's house when there's already this suspicion, this cloud around him, involving Dorina. Do you think that he had some involvement, or do you think that it was just a convenient place to put his vehicle to cast light on somebody else other than who really did it?
I think as far as that one goes, it could go either way. Now, I have been running around asking questions. I've had people giving me tidbits of information here or there, and I'm pretty sure that I can tie him in that circle with some other people, but
like he may have assisted or something like that?
Well, no, that I can tie him in with them running together in the game, pretty much. I just got some new information last night. I'm not going to really reveal it right now, but somebody had told me some things, and it just, when they was telling me this, some other things that had been said just tied right into it, and I was like, this is
right. People are starting to come out of the woodworks, and I'm really happy about that. There are some people out there with a heart, or with a little bit of a conscience at least, that are starting to come out, realize that they have nothing to fear, because the whole world's watching. So so let's talk about the brother-in-law. It has been said that there was some bad blood, a grudge, if you will, between Jamie and his brother-in-law. Do you know about that?
No, I don't know about it. Like I said, I was out of pocket. I was really wanting to get on my old Facebook, but unforeseen circumstances kept me from doing that. And then just to see if my brother, my brother's type of guy, even knowing that I wasn't in pocket right then, that he might have would have left my Facebook a message. You know what I'm saying? If there was problems, it's kind of funny, but
right.
I will say that I know the brother-in-law from years ago. I do know that he had a charge of, I believe it was kidnapping, attempted murder. I don't know if it was them exact charges, but long story short, they duct taped an old boy, was going to take him and throw him over the dam, and the dude got away. So in my heart, do I believe dude is capable of being involved in my brother's? In my mind, he's a suspect. I believe he's capable of it.
Fair enough. And again, let me just reiterate: all parties are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
I also want to say that I also know that even though sometimes things look one way, that doesn't make them that way. It can be something totally different. I'm just going off what I believe in my heart is possible.
Right.
None of it's facts.
Right. Now I've been told myself that there was a terrible grudge between Jamie and his brother-in-law, and so this was just what's the word I'm looking for? The perfect opportunity for him to be involved. That's just what I was told. I don't know that for a fact. So, but I will say this, I've been told that by several different people, not just one person or what have you. So, okay, so let's get back over to Sean for a few minutes, and we'll come back to you, because most of this part she knows more about, okay? And we'll come back to you. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, thank you.
Where you at, Sean? Trying to find you. Did you send me another one, Sean? Hello, Sean. Well, she's not in there right now. Uh-oh. Maybe that's it right there. Is that it? There she is. Uh-oh. She had a technical issue. We'll give her a minute to come back in. And then we'll get back to that in just a minute. And Sean, it said it wouldn't let you join because of technical issues. So send me another one.
You should be able to see it. I'm not sure if you would have to wait to see the image of the gun after the live is over.
Yeah, I'll have to see it after unless somebody posts it in chat. We'll post it in chat if you want to. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated.
I lost Sean for a minute here. So we'll wait for Sean to send me another invite. Okay, so let's go on here to what happened with different things. There was supposedly a sighting of Jamie at a casino in Oklahoma. However, security people there knew Jamie very well, and they hadn't seen him in quite a while. So that didn't pan out. That was BS. Um, Sean, are you still with us? Hopefully. Oh, okay. Probably in there now. Let me find you. Because I got some questions for you, girl. More questions. Where is she? Ain't putting her in there yet. Doesn't show you yet, Sean. I'll look in just a minute. Okay, so oh yeah, we got some good stuff here, folks. It just gets better. So I'm just waiting for Sean. I don't see her, do you?
Are you able to type in the search box?
Yeah. Yeah, not with a Z.
So if you do, it showed a Z for a Jennifer Valdez and it would have fit.
Well-
oh, yeah, it would show up under a different last name.
Yeah, she's Claiborne. That's all right. Yeah, I'm not seeing her. On?
Like something
I don't know why it's not letting you in, Sean. Let me see. In that. Yeah, I put in the search and it's not showing you yet. Can you maybe do it again, Sean,
or refresh, something.
or refresh and come back in or something? The first time you did it, it said that you had a connection problem, Sean. So maybe it's acting goofy. So let me know when you do it again. Okay, so yes, a remodeling job. Okay. Send another one, Sean.
I think. Yeah. Like maybe their wife. Their wife has
Okay. Is everybody else still in here okay?
not a problem at all.
I don't think so. Yeah, because I'm seeing we're fine. Sean. Okay. Again, Sean lives in, Texas, and she's got cowboy internet. Oh, Bill. Where are you? Hmm. Yeah, where is she? Oh, you know what? It may have lagged for a second because my phone Bible was doing a pop-up to tell me that God is always listening. How amazing is that? Right in the middle of this. Amen to that. All right, where are you at?
Oh, and the comments were.
Yeah, we were lagging behind there a little bit. Okay. We're not giving up. We never give up. Never, never, never. We are not giving up. Where is she? We might have to lasso her, but we will find her.
I wonder if it was a problem on our side and their and Sean's Wi-Fi at the same time because the message had the message same day and ours messed up at the same time.
Where is she? Let me see if it'll let me send her one. Can I invite her? No. Okay, I got out and I am back. Okay.
very bottom. No.
It might also take a second. Have to send another invite about that.
Yeah, send another invite, Sean. For some reason, it's not showing you on the list to accept your invite. Hello.
Yeah, a bit weird for us, but still.
Tammy. Got all these people in here and I can't find Sean. Where'd she go? There she is. Ta-da! Thank you, Lord. There she is. It's back. How you doing?
I'm back.
I was a little worried
Good.
for a minute
Well,
there.
I know not to
think
go
we were
look
gonna
at the
get there.
messages while it's going.
That's okay. All right, so let's get back over here to this. You don't have any idea where this gun is, do you?
No idea.
Was the gun in Jamie's name?
No, actually, it was bought by Jamie's wife, and she gave it to him as a gift.
Okay. And so, and then she said that Jamie gave it to your sister Nikki, but that never happened.
Right.
Have police asked her for the gun?
That I don't know. I do
That's a
believe
good
that she
question.
mentioned the gun to them, though. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay, so well, there's been some things that have been said, like, you know, Jamie was at the casino. We know that's not true. You know, somebody said that they saw him walking down the road with another character in the middle of the night. But then they changed their story. Is that correct? Okay. So
That's correct.
yeah, there's no truth and basis to that, no fact and basis to that. So all right. So Jamie's wife was working and supposedly going to school too. Was she going to school
Yes.
at the time? Okay. And she was also doing a
Yes.
remodeling job with her brother.
Yes. Right.
Whoa. That's
Busy.
whew. She is a busy woman.
And taking care of her mother, too.
Oh man. So how do you find the time to have a boyfriend and search for your husband? And I mean, I don't mean to sound, but it's just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, there's not enough hours in the day.
No. And, you know, I mean, I have talked to a lot of people. I'm talking a lot of people. And not one of them has told me that she's ever talked to them about him, ever mentioned him, nothing. Of course, I mean, I could be talking to the wrong people, but most of these people that I've talked to know her.
Right. Now, I mean, to me, how many searches has she organized to look for Jamie?
How many searches has she organized?
Yes.
0. She told me several times, pretty much from the very beginning, after after she contacted me, that she was going to back off and let us handle it all. And I would have to beg her, I need you because you're the only one, you're the last person. You're the one who knows him. You're the one who's his wife. So even like the media outlets and newspapers, they want to talk to her. And I would have been more than happy to let her take it and run with it, but she didn't want to. She says she doesn't like people. And I can understand that. I was voted the most shy in my class, but I am
She doesn't like people, but
until he is found.
what? She doesn't like people like what? Females? Because, I mean, she doesn't have a
People
problem
in general.
finding men to be in her life. I mean, I'm just saying, how shy can she be? Really, I just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just wondering how that makes any sense to anybody. So she hasn't organized any searches at all.
No.
She hasn't volunteered any time. I know that I set it up for 2 news stations to be there and interview the family about Jamie. You, of course, interviewed. I interviewed. I asked her to interview, and she declined. However,
Right.
she didn't mind doing an interview with some guy and girl to go on YouTube. Have you seen that video? And
yes,
and what did you think? What did you think about the video?
I thought it was very telling, and I didn't feel like she was being as forthcoming as she probably could have been.
Right. I thought to myself, there's no way she's getting the Academy Award for that performance. But I felt like that it was more of a blame Jamie, blame Jamie, blame Jamie. And yeah, I didn't really. The most interesting part was that, in my opinion, she did a lot of crying, but I never saw a tear. Not one that I recall. So, if I'm wise,
I think I might have seen one or two at the very beginning, but after that, and a lot of people who have seen it have come to us and said, I was on her side at the beginning of all this, but after seeing that, I can no longer be. And I understand where they're coming from, because we felt this pretty much the same way. I don't think it was all just nerves. I think it was, there was some just not revealing everything she knows.
Yeah, she was led. She was, being led in the conversation. she wasn't forthcoming. She wasn't offering what she knew or what she thought or anything. She was being led in the conversation, and really the conversation amounted to nothing. I don't even know what the purpose was, but anyways. So she did go out on one search. Is that correct?
It wasn't really an official search, but it was after the last phone ping was found. They contacted the law enforcement and went ahead and drove out there, and law enforcement met them out there about an hour later, and they proceeded to kind of look in the area of the last phone ping, but and it's my understanding that she ended up having a panic attack, and so there really wasn't a whole lot of searching done at that point. Mainly sitting on the ground and requiring attention because she was having her panic attack. But
so she has garnered a lot of
it's kind
attention
like,
through this whole process.
I feel like she wanted the attention, maybe needed the attention. And when that attention started, people started asking actual questions. And she didn't want that attention. She just wanted people to sympathize with her and what she was going through.
Right.
But when it comes to answering any actual questions that could help, she didn't want to really participate in that.
Right. Right. And how many times have the police interviewed her that you know of?
Twice that I know of. I do know they've gone by her house in addition to that a time or two to have her fill out updated paperwork on what she remembers of Jamie going missing. And that super annoys her. She doesn't want to really fill that paperwork out, but it's part of the deal, because I've talked with Serena's daughter and they've done the same to her. They just need information, and when you're withholding information, it's not doing anybody any good. So I guess she doesn't understand that that's just part of it. And part of it is going to be that she's the first one that people suspect, including law enforcement, because she was the one who spent 24/7 with him. And, I'm sorry, because I kind of have a bad attitude about it, especially right now, just because of some stuff that's gone on in the past couple of weeks regarding her. And so it's hard for me to be to be very nice.
Okay, so let's let you off the hook here. Let's just jump right to that. What has upset you? That you have this attitude, because for a while, in the beginning, especially, you were not really on her side, but you tried to be comforting, tried to be nice to her, tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. But what's happened in the last couple of weeks that really has, I think it's been a long time coming for you to realize that, something's not right here. I know you've struggled with that for a while. And my heart goes out to you, because I know that's got to be hard. It's easier for me to sit over here and go, why are you sending her flowers, when you're trying to, give her the benefit of the doubt, but everything keeps coming back around, and then you're like, what, So tell me what's happened in the last couple of weeks.
Um, we had gone to Arkansas, and I went with Daniel to court. And while we're sitting there, you know, Daniel was really super paying attention to anybody coming in the door, because he thought, you know, if some people he knew were to come in, then he wanted to get up and go talk to them and ask them what they knew about Jamie. And so we were both kind of at that point, you know, every time the door would open, we'd look. And a lady was walking in, and she was with them. And so when she saw us, she just immediately, you know, was like, ah, and she kind of starts laughing self-consciously, and she backs out the door. So I thought, well, that's odd. Why didn't she come say hi to us? And court ended up starting, and probably about 10-15 minutes in, here she comes with her boyfriend. And I'd already been told about him. I already knew about him. And, you know,
But this is not the same. Let me interject real quick, Sean. I don't mean to cut you off, but this is not the first boyfriend, correct?
No, it's the second or third.
The second or third since your brothers disappeared.
So
right.
So when they came in, of course, this guy that is her boyfriend and Daniel used to be close friends. And so they came in and they sat behind us, and because alphabetically the way the names were, he ended up going before Daniel did. And, you know, I kind of halfway expected that maybe she would wait for us and say hi, you know, just how are you doing? But no, she totally, as soon as he was done, she ran out. And it was kind of the attitude that she had, and she was kind of laughing when she left. And it rubbed me the wrong way.
She was like,
I'm a nice person.
smirking.
I'm super nice. But when it comes
so
to,
did she didn't say anything to you?
Not a word. No, not a word. I mean, and
Her
Daniel was
husband's sister,
I believe he was next in line.
her husband's sister is in town from Texas, and she doesn't even say hi to you. She just smirks at you and giggles and walks away.
Exactly.
That's horrible. And I'm really sorry that you had to go through that.
Yeah, it was very hurtful. And you know, and honestly, it made things fester inside of me. And
I don't blame you.
I ended up making a post about it on one of Jamie's sites, and it did, you know, lots of people joined in. I was very angry. I probably said a couple of things that maybe I shouldn't have, but she sent me a message on Facebook, and it was very, it was ugly. I'll just say that. And then later,
I saw it. She was very verbally attacking.
Yes. And she included some Bible verses because she knows that, you know, I go to church. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. So I chose to ignore her message because I didn't want to engage. And frankly, didn't feel like it was worth my time. And so then she made a post on Facebook, and I responded, and what I thought was, you know, pretty nice. You know, it could have been a whole lot worse. And anyway, we kind of sort of got into it on Facebook. And her brother ended up getting in there on it as well. I just blocked him because honestly, I don't want anything to do with him. And anyway, it's from then on, it's just been trying to be nice about her. And, you know, and as Christian as I am, there are some things that I don't feel like have to be tolerated just because you're a Christian and you're nice. And, you know, I'm going to keep on looking for Jamie, and I'm going to probably
We're not going to quit.
You know, no, we're not. Definitely not going to quit.
Right.
And
so let me ask you this, Sean.
Engage with that. Say again.
Right. So this guy that she was with that day at the courthouse was not the first boyfriend she had. What was the first? You don't have to tell me the person's name, but when did you become aware of the fact that she had a boyfriend? Do you?
It was actually probably pretty quickly after she had gotten with this guy. Somebody had seen her in Walmart, and they sent me a Facebook message and let us know. And so, you know, and honestly, 3 weeks after your husband goes missing, that's really soon to be involved in a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it myself. I don't understand it.
Well, and I think that we need to make clear for the people who are not familiar with the case. Jamie and his wife had just been married 3 weeks prior to his disappearance, right? So out of the blue, all of a sudden, they get married, no plans or anything. They just get married one day, call you and say, Sean, we're getting married. And then 3 weeks later, your brother is missing. And I found that quite interesting because the truck that she drives belongs to your brother. And had they not been married, that vehicle would rightfully belong to his daughter and any of his other possessions. That's correct, right? And so,
Yeah,
you know, I've always had the question in my mind, you know, did she do that? Did she get married to him just so she could have his stuff? Because we know that she liked driving his truck. That's why he was driving her car. So it makes you wonder, did she do that intentionally, knowing that something was going to happen, and she would be able to keep his vehicle and his other personal belongings that should have gone to his daughter. So that's another interesting facet to this case.
Paid for, totally. It was totally paid for.
Right. And her car was not, which is why it got repossessed.
Right.
So, right. So, she's currently driving around in Jamie's vehicle with her other boyfriends doing whatever, I don't know. But still, that's the case. And I would have liked to have seen that vehicle go to his daughter, which is where it should have went. But there's nothing we can do about that now. You know, Jamie trusted her, so, you know. But anyways, so, okay. So you knew pretty quickly after Jamie went missing that she was being seen with another man.
within 3
Did Jamie
weeks.
think she? Did Jamie think she had another man?
You know, I really don't know the answer to that question. He never, well, he never told me. But I think, like Daniel had said before, he had come home from work and found that, you know, one of her exes or something like that had been at their house, and he was super upset about that. And, you know, like Daniel said, he cried. He had feelings for Anna. And I do know that when they were getting married, he sent me a Facebook message, and he seemed to be really excited and happy. And later he told me, well, not later, this was actually before they got married. He had told me that he said, Anna's really sweet. I think you'll like her. And, but yeah.
Well, what I find interesting
he
about
seemed to
that
be in love with her.
situation, right? And what I find interesting about that situation is that the stories that are coming back from people are that, you know, she's been telling everybody he was abusive to her, and so, you know, I'm wondering why she would then marry him if he was so abusive. You know, if he was treating her so badly, you know, according to some people, then why would she marry him? I think that she can't keep up with her stories and her fabrications, you know, and when you're not being truthful, you know, it snowballs. So, yeah, that makes no sense at all to me. If he was a cheater and a partier and taking off and leaving her all the time, you know, I've had someone message me who, you know, was formerly not in a relationship, but had a relationship with her, not as boyfriend, girlfriend, but just a relationship with her and Jamie. And, you know, he was like, I've never seen, you know, they lived together at one point, and he was like, I've never seen Jamie be abusive. If I'm being honest, it was the other way around. And so that
And
really,
we've spoken to some of his old girlfriends, and they're like, no, Jamie's never laid a hand on us. In fact, if Jamie gets angry, what Jamie does is he leaves the room, he goes in a room by himself, and he calms down, and then he comes back out, and they talk civilly. So it's like, yeah. I do believe that her saying those things against Jamie, they're not true. Absolutely
no, they're not.
true.
I mean, there's like a handful in her tiny, tiny, tiny little circle that, you know, she has convinced that he was that way, but it's not true. And I can't find anybody substantially outside of her little tiny circle who will say anything different. They all say the same thing, that it's not true, he wasn't that way.
Well, and I have to say,
so
some of her circle is turning on her.
good. I hope they're listening, and I hope that, anyway. So let me ask you this: who else has the police in the close knit circle? Who else have they interviewed besides the wife? Did they interview
I do know they called her brother.
the mother-in-law?
They did go by the mother's house, and spoke to her. I don't think it was much of a interrogation with the mother because her health was pretty bad. But I do know that they had brought in
Bless her heart. May she
the
rest in peace.
brother.
Mhm.
Yes, for sure. They brought in the
Mhm.
brother, and he ended up just getting up and walking out of the questioning. He wasn't interested in
Really?
being questioned.
Mhm. Well,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's par for the course. Um, has the police administered any lie detector tests?
No, they have not. And
Why not?
the chief had told me
I mean,
that
if
there was
anything,
only a couple of people.
if anything,
There was only a
I would think
couple of
that
people
it would
that were
eliminate.
supposedly certified. Yes,
Mhm.
I would think that that would be something they would do almost immediately. But the chief had told me there was only 2 people certified with the state police that could give the lie detector test. And when I asked about it in October, he told me that they were going to, that the new troops were coming in. And so those 2 would be busy with the new troops coming in for the state police. And I have since then talked to a homicide detective, and he said no. There are other people who are qualified and certified to give lie detector tests. And even if it's not a lie detector test, they could do a voice stress test. I did offer to pay for Anna to take the test. She, and this was back in January, she pretty much said, if you guys don't believe me, you're not on my side. I don't have to do that. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. And I told her, this is so that we can rule you out and start looking at somebody else. And
Right.
at that time, that's really how I felt. And so, but she pretty much flat out declined to do that.
And I want it to be noted that I actually helped you on that because you were getting such a runaround about a lie detector test from the police department that I hunted down someone who would give the lie detector test for a really cheap rate that has a firm. It's not just one little office. They have a firm. It's all over the state of Arkansas and has been in the business for 31 years. And so he's very skilled. And we went through all that trouble because you couldn't get the police to do it. And then when you asked her to take
Right.
it, she declined.
Yes.
She got angry at you, which is common when somebody has something to hide. Because if it's me, lie detector tests are not admissible in court. So I would have been like, yeah, I'll take it. I want everybody to know I had nothing to do with this. I didn't have any knowledge of it, or I didn't help orchestrate it. I didn't, that would be the first thing that most people that are innocent would do.
Yeah.
Did she ever retain a lawyer at any point?
Did she? She talked
Yeah.
about it, but she never did that I know of.
Okay. Okay. And so now let's go back
But
to
she had said
um,
that if the police tried to give her a lie detector test, that she would hire a lawyer at that point.
okay. All right. And so you have been getting messages from people that say that he was taken, and that he was taken out into the woods somewhere, and bad things happened or whatever. And you've been getting a lot of messages, right, like that? I have as well.
Yes.
And so, it makes you wonder why or how all these people, especially the ones who have no affiliation with other ones, are coming up with kind of like the same kind of story. So it's kind of a weird thing, because it makes you wonder. People are starting to cave in and starting to talk. And so, of course, you'll always have those who will, take it to their grave. I've heard a lot about it being not only a wife issue where, she was being so abused, but that, he was accused of other things that weren't true. And that she played on the fact that he has some Hispanic blood in him. So that it was kind of like, he beats me, plus he's, Hispanic, and, and he did this. And one of the rumors that I've heard was that he was supposedly flirting with young girls on the internet, and through research, you and I extensively proved that that was not true at all, right? And who was it that started that rumor?
Right. That was his wife.
Exactly.
She sent me a screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to go like
And
into
we later
crazy
found
detail.
out that was a mistake.
Right. It was nothing, nowhere near. We went right to the source, and it was like, what? No, that didn't happen. This is what happened. And so it was, it was nothing like she portrayed it to be. So.
Sorry, I was going to say that.
Right.
I'm going to.
And that actually leads me to another point, where the last couple of weeks in that Facebook conversation with his wife, she brought up the fact that she knew he was cheating on her with some lady, and that she had found. And it was actually on Twitter, which is kind of weird. But so when she brought that up and was saying that she knew he was cheating on her for 7 months while they were together. So I got a copy of the screenshots that she had sent to someone, and in looking through it, it's like, okay, so it was really obvious that the person that Jamie was having this conversation with was somebody from overseas. Okay, so it's hard, number one, to have a relationship of physical nature with somebody who's not even in the United States. But on top of that, she asked him for a phone, and she named the type of phone that she wanted. Well, this was back in 2019 when that type of phone came out. And also in those messages, Jamie mentions, I'm going to go pick up my daughter. Well, I asked his daughter, did you ever go to Boonville and spend a night with the wife's
him and his wife
mother at that house? and
Mhm.
she never had. And so, but in that conversation of Jamie with this other lady, he mentioned, I'm going to go pick up my daughter and she's going to spend the night. So, and he
Right.
mentions that 2 different times during this conversation. So whenever I pointed that out to Jamie's wife, of course, she wasn't going to believe that, you know, that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that, you know. So anyway, it was obvious to me. All you had to do was read. And if she had read
Right.
what she thought she had found, it was from before they were ever even together.
Mhm.
So it didn't apply. But yet here she
And
is
so
on
she's
Facebook
using this stuff.
telling all of her friends.
Right. So she's using this stuff to tell all her friends, look, Jamie was cheating on me for 7 months. And it's all a fabrication. We've proven that because you know for a fact that the phone the lady wanted was back in 2019. And anybody knows that his daughter never came to stay the night with him and his wife, ever. So
Right.
it's just a complete lie. That's a conversation from before he was even with Anna. So go ahead. Tyler wants to say something real quick.
Sorry. I just really quickly wanted to add that I have to go take care of my tech and some other things, but I really appreciated the interview, and I have all of my notes right here on any that have a Q in any of these pages or questions that I found.
Okay.
And I'm really grateful to have a hand in this, and I hope that we can continue searching and
All the notes he's taken.
figuring things out.
Just pages and pages of notes. He's a good co-host. Both
Thank you,
sides.
Tyler.
My goodness. He's amazing. Thank you, babe. So, okay.
Good night.
Thank you. So what I wanted to say was, what's the earliest we know that she had a boyfriend?
Well, somebody came to Daniel and actually said that they had seen Jamie's wife with another guy just 2 days after he disappeared at Walmart again. So, I mean, I don't know if they had a relationship or not, but this person seemed to believe that by the way they were interacting with each other, that there was a relationship going on. So that would be the earliest. And then the next was 3 weeks after Jamie went missing.
Okay. So there was a time, since we're talking about phones and stuff, but there was a time that you noticed some activity on Jamie's Facebook. When was that, and what was it?
That, I believe that was actually June 17th. It somebody had gone in and changed Jamie's hometown or current town to Ozark. And I had sent a Facebook message to Jamie, like right after he went missing. And it was viewed on that day, June 17th. In the interview that Anna had, she did admit that her mother had gotten in to his Facebook and looked at some stuff and changed some stuff. But it was just really odd.
Yeah, I'm wondering why her mother would do that.
You know, her mother was pretty old. I mean, you know, you can't just change somebody's hometown without really clicking a lot of buttons in Facebook. So that whole thing was just strange.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and I find it myself, I find it hard to believe that her mother was surfing Jamie's Facebook page, you know. Um, I just think it's one more thing a um in the whole big picture of, lies and deceit. So personally, that's just what I think. So, okay. So she denied taking or she declined to take the lie detector test. Um, where is the case right now? What's happening with the case right now? Like if you called the chief of police today, what would he say?
He would probably ask me if I had any more tips for him. Um, and honestly, I mean, I don't know what all he's investigated, but I do know that he's told me that if if he doesn't really have anything to check out unless I give it to him. So, that's why I'm constantly asking people, do you have any tips? Because, I mean, we're kind of at a standstill, and we're coming up on it being a year really fast. And honestly, when this all started, I thought we'd find him in a couple of weeks. I never dreamed it would go on this long, and now I'm to the point where I can't imagine finding him, and I can't imagine not finding him. I can't imagine living in limbo for the rest of our lives, not knowing where he's at. It's mind blowing to me that we can't find him and take care of him.
Yeah, right. And so, yeah, you get a lot of tips. Yeah, just as some of these I've seen too. Um, um, I'm just looking over my notes here. Want to make sure that we touch on as much as possible in this live. Of course, we'll do more, but I want to touch on as much as possible about what has and hasn't been done as far as Jamie's concerned. Now, you were told at some time that the brother-in-law had a huge grudge against Jamie. Do you know what for?
I've never have been able to find that out.
But you've been told that by more than one person.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure have.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got messages about them doing some work at their house. Were you aware of that? What did they do, Sean?
Yes.
Do you know? Can you tell me?
They took up the flooring and changed out the floors. I don't know exactly what all that entails, but I know when we change out our floors, that's quite a big undertaking, and they waited until their mother passed away before they did that.
Did they hit the lotto, or did mom have some life insurance or something? I'm just wondering.
I really don't know.
Okay, so let me ask, does she still live there?
Does she? She does
Uh-huh.
not.
The wife.
She's living with her boyfriend.
So who lives in the house?
Her brother does.
So she helped put in a floor to a house she doesn't even live in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what other questions do you have? What, like, if you could ask anybody in the world right now in Boonville, Arkansas, what would you ask them?
I would just ask them what they know, and to come forward and let us know what they know, so that we can get some closure. This has gone
Right.
on way too long.
I agree. I think that if the police would step up and really hammer down on this, it would come to a resolution sooner than later. I don't understand why that's not happening, and why they haven't. If they can't do it, why they haven't asked the state police to step in. But I feel like they really need to get on top of this and get busy, because there's too much going on, and they're not taking it seriously, and they haven't from the beginning. And here we are, we're rolling up on a year now that Jamie's been gone. I've heard lots of rumors about where he's at. I've heard lots of rumors, that he's been moved because we got close. I've heard lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any camera footage from Gam Mart the day Jamie was in there? No?
No, they said that it was too late. By the time he was reported missing, they only kept the footage for 15 days. And by the time they got over to Jam Mart to check out the footage, it had been well over the 15 days. And the chief actually did, he went to whoever is over the headquarters and asked them as well. And they said they couldn't get anything.
Okay. Have they checked any other cameras around town, like Walmart? A lot of times, they'll check cameras everywhere to see if they see him drive by, and if he's the only person in the car, or somebody's with them, or what direction he was going, or whatever. None of that. And we waited way too long to get the footage. Okay. You at one time had a conversation with someone who told you that they had taken a walk in that area where Jamie's vehicle was found, and at the time that they took this walk, that vehicle was not there. Meaning that the vehicle was put there later after Jamie had been missing?
I don't really recall that. I don't recall that conversation. I have talked to so many people, though.
Right.
It's hard to say.
And I have too.
And it's funny
so
because a lot of people said they saw the car out there for a long time, and then other people said they didn't see the car out there at all. So, yeah, and it is kind of a secluded spot. So, you know,
and it just
there's no
depends on who
telling.
you're talking to, what circle of people you're talking to,
Right,
whether it was there or not. Right.
right,
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Did you know if Jamie had any kind of gang affiliation?
No, no. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
either.
he's definitely not that type of person.
Right, right. No, he, as far as I knew and everything that I've looked into, he had no gang affiliation at all. Um, so Anna is currently living with boyfriend number 3.
That's correct.
Um, so when you get all this information that you're getting and you give it over to the chief of police, what does he say to you?
Not a lot. He may or may not respond. You know, there have been times where I have sent him 3 email messages with including tips, and you know, he might get back with me like a week later. So, and sometimes he addresses the things that I've asked him about, and sometimes I have to ask him again. But yeah, it generally takes him a while to get back with me.
What's
And
the
then there's
longest
been
you've had
some
to wait?
times when I have found out things that I thought were really important and that, you know, would be something that maybe he needs to check out ASAP, and it'll be a couple of days. But you know, I do know they've got other stuff going on other than my brother being missing. But of course, I still feel like that's the most important thing.
Right. Tracy Potter, I see your comment, and I know that I have had extensive conversation with one um, of those that you're talking about. Um, yeah, I don't believe it, but we'll just leave it at that for right now. But Sean, what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something before I got off on that. What's the longest you've had to wait for the chief to respond to you?
Probably about 2 weeks.
2 weeks
And
to respond?
well, honestly, if I got something to say to him, and you know, he doesn't get back with me through email, I'll usually call him. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know he's
Well,
busy, but still,
it doesn't.
sometimes
It
it doesn't
doesn't
take
take
that long
much.
to just reply a quick reply.
No, it doesn't. And so that's very concerning that he can't answer an email within 2 weeks when your brother is missing. I'm kind of like, what? Um, yeah. Well, no wonder you're frustrated. No wonder you guys are so upset. You know what I mean? Um, I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. We need to. Who's the lead detective on this case?
You know, the chief had told me that he was taking over the case. I do know that Cody Smith is an investigator for the Boonville Police Department, and that he is given tasks to work on, such as the subpoena of the phone records. But as far as I know, it's the chief who's over everything.
Have they retrieved phone records?
Not, as far as I know, they haven't, but it, in fact, some of the last emails I sent to the chief, I specifically asked, and he never responded to that.
Okay. Again, let me just
Because honestly, I
think.
would like to know I would like to know not only did they get Jamie's phone records, but anybody else living in the household at that time as well. Triangulation and all that. Where were their phones pinging at the same time Jamie's phone was? I just and then there's a couple of other people that people have given us tips about that. I would like to know the same thing about theirs. Were they in the same area as Jamie at that time that he came up missing? I just want to know
Right.
it all. But
I know.
I don't
I
even
know.
know that they've gotten Jamie's phone records.
Wow. And again, let me just reiterate that, from a law enforcement standpoint, there's going to be things that they can't share with you for obvious reasons. I mean, they don't have to tell you what they contain. They can say they got them, but
Yeah.
they don't respond to you asking at all. Have you asked them? Say to them, you don't have to tell me details, but I just want to know if you got them. That would at least give you a little bit more idea of what.
I have point blank asked if they've gotten the phone records,
And he doesn't say anything.
and they're always like, he always says, I'll check on that, but I have never heard that they've gotten them.
Right. I can't even imagine how you must feel dealing with this. And to have no help from the police department is just blows my mind. There was at one time a person who said to you that she had witnessed some pieces of flesh on a road. Do you know where that was at?
Actually, they didn't say it to me. They said it to Jamie's wife. And I asked her to give me that person's name because I really wanted to talk to them. And Daniel was able to find out who that person was. And I've been trying to reach out to them. So we'll hopefully get to talk to them. But we found out that it was a relative of Jamie's wife that saw it. And she had told me that this was an elderly person who lived by herself, and that was not the case. So another thing that's concerning is just tell us the truth. That's you don't have to lie to us. Just tell us the truth.
Right. Well, she can't because she's lied so much that she has to keep covering those lies with other lies, And so when you say, well, let me talk to this lady, then she gives you the sad story of she's old and lives by herself and I don't want to really give out her name and blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that she's not an old lady. She doesn't live by herself, but that those facts are not true. So they're not actually facts, right? So let's go ahead and start drawing this to a close for tonight. And we'll do this again probably in a week or so, see where we're at from there. But let's see some questions. Does anybody have a question they want to ask Sean while she's on here? Why hasn't anyone contacted the state police? They need to investigate the brother's house. Jason Fonger is asking that.
Yeah, I've actually reached out a time or two to state police in the area, and the chief has said until there is hard evidence that they can't really call the state police in. And by hard evidence, they mean a body. And so once a body is found, then state police will absolutely get involved. But yeah, we have to find a body first.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about that. I don't know that that's particularly true. Arnetta, are you still here with us? If you are, chime in on that, what your thoughts are about that, but I don't think that's true. So, did Jamie have life insurance?
What was the question?
Did Jamie have life insurance?
Not that we've found. We're still looking, because we would like to know the answer to that as well.
And there was a point in time too that I want to touch base on, that the wife made the trip to Texas. Can you tell us about that and what that was about? Or what you know, anyway.
She had told me that she was going to Texas to close out a storage shed that they had there from when they lived in Texas. We did find out that a guy went with her. It wasn't any of her boyfriends, but it was concerning. And you know, I mean, we all probably watch CSI and Criminal Minds, and I'm sure that lots of people have wondered whether you know, they took Jamie with them when they went down there. We don't know.
Right. Yes, something to ponder and think about. And the police are aware of that, right?
Yes. We did let them know that had happened, and you know.
Right. And then there was also a time too when did she get pulled over in Jamie's vehicle? Yeah.
That was actually in the truck that she was pulled over, which the truck was in Jamie's name. And so when they saw the truck and ran the plates, of course, it came up as belonging to Jamie. And so her and her boyfriend at that time were both made to get out of the car, and they searched to see, you know, if they could find anything, but they did not find anything at that time. So, and it did upset Jamie's wife that that happened. And it was funny because at that point, when I found out about it, I didn't know that the truck was actually registered to Jamie, and found out later that Jamie had bought the car, and it was totally 100% paid for, which the other vehicle was in the wife's name and was not paid for.
Right. So, yeah, I heard that. I was told by someone with direct knowledge that they were out on a trip to pick up illegal substances when they got pulled over. So, anyways, so she's been pretty much catting around from the get-go. Do you, I know you can't say, but do you have direct knowledge of the first person she was seeing? Is it a Boombillion person? If that's a word, Boombillion. Is it a person from Boomville that was the first boyfriend? Because we said what? She had like 3. She's on the 3rd one, I guess. Or do you know?
Yeah, all 3 of the guys were from Boonville.
Okay. So just rifling through. That's a few in quite a short time for somebody so shy. Let's see what else. I think questions. How close does a cadaver dog have to be able to smell a scent from human remains? Like, could they walk a dog close enough in the house without trespassing? I don't think so. No. I think they have to, yeah, they got to be pretty close. And I don't, at this point, I don't think it's going to matter because the floor is gone. You know, so my theory is that, you know, my thought process is that he went back to the house and he never left there. That's my opinion. Or he did, but he wasn't viable. So, but that's just my opinion. Anybody else have any questions? Let's see. Okay, people are just talking about the floor. Is there anything else, Sean, that you feel like is really important for people to know? Anything that we haven't covered?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I probably will after we get off.
Of course, that's how it works. But that's okay because we'll revisit this. We're not going to stop, right? We're going to keep going. Has there been anybody else that you can think of or have had anybody pushing you in that direction that may have done this just for whatever reason, just for? I mean, is there any other thing going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about that maybe could have got Jamie in trouble? Or, I mean, is there, I mean, I can't find in all of my searching, I can't find anybody outside the circle that I can say to myself, okay, yes, Betty did it. Or, you know, I think maybe Joe Schmo over here did it because of this or that. Or, I mean, I haven't been able to find any of that. Have you come across anything like that that leads you in a totally different direction than where you are right now?
I don't know if it's my internet, but I'm kind of having trouble hearing you and your screen is froze up. So it probably is my internet. But
Okay, can you hear me
I
now?
have no idea what that last question was.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I asked is if you have gotten any kind
Yes.
of any push in a different direction outside of the circle. Like, and you know, is there any other person on your mind that you're like, maybe they did it?
There was the one person that was the name was brought up to us several different times, that they were the person who had taken Jamie out in the woods and tied him up in a tree and left him there. But other than that, there really hasn't been anybody else that people have said could be involved. So, that's the only one that I know of.
And that's referring to the gentleman who moved from the area. Is that who we're talking about?
No, that was a different person than the one they're saying
Okay.
was the one who took him out in the woods and left him there. So there's a couple of different people that people have pointed a finger at.
Okay, but let's
there's
let
not
us
any really any evidence.
right. But is there a correlation between those people and the circle of people that we've been talking about?
I've heard that there is, but I don't know for a
Right.
fact.
I would say that there is, but I get what you're saying. Okay, so I think this is what we're going to do because we've been on here a long time. People are asking lots of questions, and it probably would be a lot easier for you and Daniel if you guys are just in chat with them after the live ends so that you can answer those questions. And then we'll be, doing updates and then, during the next week or so, and then we'll come back and do this again where we won't have to have so much to cover. Tonight was a lot to cover, but I really wanted to give you and Daniel the space to get this out there because, no matter how many news agencies you involve in this, you get like a 60-second clip on the 5 o'clock news or, this really needed to get out there completely so that everybody knows what is going on and, the police activity that's more than lacking, in my opinion. All the evidence that to me says, why aren't we looking at this, even if we had to at some point take it to a grand jury? Why not? I don't think that it would be a problem to get an indictment, but we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and say to everybody, Arnetta, let me know which one you want. Which one? Do you want Robin McGraw Revelation, or do you want the other gift pack? One of the two is for you. Go ahead, tell me which one, and then I'll make sure Priscilla gets the other one. And I will contact you both probably tomorrow and get your addresses, or you can inbox me your addresses, and I'll send those to you. Um, and we'll get that done. I'm gonna do another giveaway for the next live that I do. And again, let me reiterate, all persons are considered innocent until proven guilty. But with all of your help, we're going to be able to prove guilt. Everybody, please share this to everybody that you can share it to. Share it to groups that you're in. I've been sharing it to groups and everything else that I'm in. Share it to groups. I want to give a little bit of props to retail regulators for letting me go in there and post stuff about this case. They've really been fantastic about that. And if you're based in California, check them out. They've got some really cool stuff down there, and it's lots of fun. Check out their page, Retail Regulators. But like and share this everywhere that you can, because we're not going to be able to do this without you, the people. We're really not. And keep praying for Sean and Daniel and Nikki and Kim,
Right.
that, we find him and bring him home to his family. And I'm going to let Sean and, well, not let, but I'm going to end the live so that Sean and Daniel can chat with all of you and talk about things. Remember, this is a live. It will be posted. So, any tips or clues that you may have, contact me or contact Sean directly. Don't post it in the chat, and we'll get back to you right away. Or you can contact the Boonville Police Department, but at this point, I'm not sure how much. It takes 2 weeks to get an answer back. You never know. That's just ridiculous. I can't believe that. But anyways, I want to thank Sean for doing this tonight. I know this is so difficult for her. She's tired. She's been through a lot, and I hate it. And but I've left myself and committed myself to keep working this case until we find him, and I intend to do that. Daniel, I want to thank you for being here. I know this has been hard for you as well, especially since you were out of pocket for a while, and so you had to just sit by silently and not be able to do anything until now. But the good news is you're here now, and that's all that matters. And we're going to find him. We're going to keep working on it until we do. Any questions or things or things that you want to talk about on the next live, just go ahead and make yourself, a note of it, Daniel, and then we can talk about those things too as well. I hope the Boonville Police Department sees this. And I would say to you, Chief Villarreal, please get busy. Help this family. Please get busy. And hold these people accountable for what they have done. And get busy finding Jamie. One more thing that I want to say before I close tonight. Chief, why won't you let EquiSearch come and look for Jamie? Is that for real? EquiSearch is offering to come to Boonville to look for Jamie, and you're declining that? Why? Just give us a good reason why. I can't imagine what that good reason would be, but when a group like EquiSearch steps up and says, look, we're willing to come to your state and help find James Valdez, you would think the chief would be like, I'm all over it. Come on. Instead of making excuses, oh, you can't take your horses in that area. I'm sorry, but I have to laugh at that because I am a horsewoman, and that is the biggest hunk of crap I've ever heard in my life. Get on the phone and call them. They are offering to help. Call EquiSearch and let them know that you would be more than happy for them to come to Boonville and start looking for Jamie. Or everybody's going to be wondering why you haven't. I already am. So, again, I implore you, call them, let them come out and start searching. Or on the next live, we'll have to be wondering why you haven't again, more in depth. All right, so everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that you'll share this to everything that you can, to everyone that you can. Get it out there, and that way people will start following the page and keep up with what's going on with Jamie. And eventually, we're going to find him. I hope that all of you got some more in-depth insight into what's happening. I pray for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming in here and being here with us. Be kind to each other. God bless all of you. Good night. Thank you.